Mic check 1 2.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. 1-1-1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the very warm and friendly confines of the Ford Center on the campus of Clinton Community College along the beautiful but chilly shores of Lake Champlain. I'm Tyler Wood, welcoming you in to game number 3 on the season for the Clinton Community College men's basketball team in the 2025-26 campaign. The Cougars playing host to the Fulton Montgomery Raiders this evening. The Cougars enter with an overall record of 1-1. They dropped an 80-48 decision to VTSU Randolph to tip off the season. VTSU Randolph, a 4-year institution. And then if you were with us last week, you saw a thriller, an 85 to, oh, excuse me, wrong paper. There you go, an 85-83 win over Sudi Adirondack. Calvin Rodriguez was the hero as he hit an off-balance jumper from mid-range as time expired to lift the Cougars to victory. Fulton Montgomery also enters with a record of 1 win and 1 loss. They picked up a win over Jefferson Community College, an 84-67 decision. And they also dropped an 87-63 loss to Bunker Hill. We are just seconds away from tip-off here. The voice of North Country Sports, Rick Bruce, is readying to introduce the starting 5 from both squads, and we'll defer down to him at this time. Sprucey pinch hitting tonight. Tom Nesbitt, our usual public address announcer, out in Las Vegas, so I suppose if he wins big, we'll know he won't be here for our next home game. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America and those who protect
So there you have it, the starting five for both sides, courtesy of our fill-in public address announcer and our usual scoreboard operator, Rick Bruce, who, of course, is a voice of sports all around the local high school and college scene. There's something about the way that Spruce says "at guard" that just tickles an itch in my brain. When he says "at guard," it really, I'm fired up. I'm ready for the game. And so are the Raiders and Cougars here on the floor. Jeffrey Collins Weeks III, the 6'8 sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, will step up for the opening tip for Clinton. He'll be countered by a 6'5 first year from Albany, Matthew Carter, for Fulton Montgomery. Both squads with 1 win, 1 loss. Something's going to give here inside the Foreign Center tonight. The Raiders control off the opening tip. It's Jordan Knight who will have his first pass picked off. And the Cougars now will head the other way. It's Jaden Matos. He'll dish off to the left side. He corrals his own pass as that was nearly broken up in transit. Xavier Davis is there to collect the refuse, and the possession stays intact here for the Cougars. Matos drives in from the left side. He meets a body down the lane. Collins Weeks will grapple for the loose ball. Raiders come up with it. Still sitting on the hardwood is Jordan Knight. He finally relinquishes possession and a foul called. So a chaotic sequence here just 30 seconds into the game. And it will culminate in the game's first foul against the hosts. Now I have a delay in my headset. I can hear myself about 15 or 20 seconds delayed. I certainly hope that's not occurring on your end of things. Our producer will be here shortly, Jacob K.A. en route to our current location. James Collar sends it off to the right wing for Andre Jackson. Now back over James Collar. And the Cougars come up with another giveaway here on the defensive end. Xavier Davis, 3 from the corner, and he hits. The first points of the game belong to Clinton Community. 3-0 the Cougars lead. Now James Collar will bring it forward. It gives off to the right side for Craig Guest Jr. Back up top, Collar looking for the answer. Shot goes up, rebound taken in by Collins Weeks. Cougars quick in transition. Corner opportunity for Rodriguez, and he took an extra step. And the walk will give the ball back to the Raiders as they search for their first points of the contest. Andre Jackson back up top to Collar. Jackson again, that time he's pestered defensively by Xavier Davis. We talked about the fountain of youth for this Clinton Community College squad. First year's up and down the roster. In fact, they had just 3 returners from last season. Only one of them is on the floor, in the form of Jeffrey Collins Weeks III. Andre Jackson puts it over to the corner for James Collar. Collar back up top, the 3 from Knight is true. All knotted up at 3 all, 18-14 left in this first half. And it's Xavier Davis, the Baltimore first year, who will take it across the timeline. He finds Collins Weeks. He tries to parallel baseline. Jaden Matos now, guarded closely along the perimeter. He'll tiptoe inside, puts it in off the window. Collar now will take it across the center line. He hands off to Knight, who thought about a quick shot. Instead, he sends it over for Jackson. Now Collar. Again back to Jackson. And now the Raiders will reset. 10 seconds left on the timer. Ball back in the hands of Jackson. Mid-range midi from Collar won't fall. They chase the long rebound off the sideline. Last touch by the Raiders for a Cougar inbound. And this delay in my headset, I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. I hear myself about 20 seconds late, which is not ideal. Xavier Davis now will work, full head of steam, hoists it up, no good, but the foul's called after the play. Matthew Carter collected the board for the Raiders, but we'll have a late foul call coming in, much to the chagrin of Fulton Montgomery's head coach. He's standing with arms in the air, wondering how the foul can be that delayed after the scoring attempt. And now he'll ask for an explanation from the far side official, but it will be 2 shots at the free throw line for the Baltimore first year, Xavier Davis. And the first one is off the back iron. Cougars not a high percentage team in the free throw category. Davis's back end is good. Cougars have doubled up the advantage, 6-3 now. They're in the driver's seat. Pass comes into Jackson. He'll stride in from the left block and strike and ambush in transition. Collins Weeks now with Knight in his grill. Sends it to the corner again for White. That shot's been a high selection for the Cougars. Here's a long ball for Xavier Davis, and he hits. Collar over for Knight, trailing 9-5. A Dolly Parton score inside the Florence Center tonight. Collar gives over for Guest Jr. Guest Jr. caught in a Cougar sandwich. Ball's batted around. Now it's loose on the hardwood. Picked up by Collar, who has numbers downhill. He dishes off right side. Carter puts it up. An aerial contest for the rebound. Again picked up by Collar. And he'll lay it in. So some physical play in the near half court will result in a Fulton Montgomery bucket.
So I have a delay in my headset, and I'm like 20 seconds behind. So I feel like I'm having a stroke. If you can, like, maybe just look into that.
Nice to see you, by the way. Shot comes in for the right side, a foul called. Working his way to the rim was Anthony Thomas Jr. He was contested by Matthew Carter, and it's Carter who will be whistled for the infraction. Just stopped talking 30 seconds ago. We'll see. No, still playing back. First free throw falls through for Clinton's Anthony Thomas Jr. No, I'm still hearing myself from 30 seconds ago. It's probably something that I messed up in pregame. Now the Raiders in transition. James Collar in the corner. Takes a tiptoe through the tulips, and he's fouled on his way to the rim. Anthony Thomas Jr. was straight up with the arms. He must have drawn contact on the body. And it will be a trip to the charity stripe here for the Raiders. 10-7, the Cougars lead. Football score right now, the Cougars up by a field goal. I think you fixed it now. I think we're good now. Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your patience. Jacob K just came in and saved the day. I can no longer hear myself on a 30-second delay. That was strange, very strange. And the second free throw will fall for James Collar. 10-9 now, 2 up, 2 down here for the Raiders. Xavier Davis sends it over for Collins Weeks III. Full head of steam the other way. Instead, he relinquishes possession to White, who drains the long ball. Back to a 2-possession edge here for Clinton Community. Collar will carry it across the center line. Sends it over for Jackson. Collar hails from Gloversville, New York, a product of Section 2. Quick three from Guest is nylon. The product of New Haven, Connecticut. Sends one through to cut the deficit to 1. An answer on the other end comes from Anthony Thomas Jr. He's able to muscle it in from the right block. Collar calls for some action. Now gives way for Jackson on the right side. Cougars defense covers the perimeter. Shot from just inside the arc. Swishes through for James Collar. 15-14. The Raiders starting to roll here offensively. Clinton has led every second of this game. Jaden Matos looking to answer the call here. The Cougars have thus far. One-handed off-balance shot. Rattles out. Rebound taken in by Jackson. Jackson now for Carter. Thought about the three. Has his pocket picked by Matos. Matos, odd man rush, but the steal. The Cougars give it right back. It's Knight. Jackson had a look from long range and said he'll pass up the shot. Fulton Montgomery trying to take its first lead of the afternoon. Pass is skied inside to Knight. Knight, reverse, and he's fouled. Foul will be called on Jerome White, the first year from Mandeville, Jamaica. It will be his first personal third-team foul against the Cougars. Fulton Montgomery at 2 team infractions. And a trip to the free throw line ensues here for Jordan Knight. Knight also a product of Section 2, a graduate of Mahonison High School, the city of Schenectady. Sub checks in for both sides here. It's J-Mo Conrad who comes in for the Cougars. And for Fulton Montgomery, it is Mackenzie Johnson, a 6'7" sophomore from Ocala, Florida. All knotted up at 15. A chance for the lead here for Fulton, and it will rattle through the cylinder. 16-15. The Raiders take the lead. Xavier Davis will act as the point guard in the opposite half court. He pushes it forward for White. Collins Weeks, long three, and it's cash. Big man three for Jeffrey Collins Weeks. Collar now surveys his options. Cougars back in front. It's been a seesaw battle thus far. Three for Collar off the front rim. Friendly fire on the rebound, and it's Collins Weeks who will gather it. He takes it across. He'll look dime to Conrad. Thought about the shot. Instead, he'll charge down the lane. Too much mustard, but the putback true for Collins Weeks. 20-16. Collar in transition to Guest. Collar sends it over for Turner. Gennaro Turner, also a new addition to the game. Sophomore from Ocala, Florida. Turner guarded closely, 8 seconds to shoot. It's Collar from the free throw line extended. He can't finesse the shot. They bat around the long rebound, and the Cougars come up with it. Meanwhile, there's a Raider down in the backcourt. Advantage the other way for Clinton Community. It's Davis who will loft it toward the net. Collins Weeks a putback, and now we'll have a stoppage for the injured player. It is Gennaro Turner, the aforementioned, who will hobble to the bench. Fulton Montgomery will have a limited amount of time to make a substitution here. I believe it's 30 seconds of time to select a sub, and now they will get that player in the game. It is C.J. Borgard, a 6'3" first year from Tampa, Florida. So Citrus State for Citrus State. I think that's Florida's nickname, right? The Citrus State? You weren't? Okay, close enough. I've never been to Florida, Jacob, have you? Okay. Oh, you're going on Sunday. Well, you're going to miss the 7.5 inches of snow we got 2 nights ago. James Collar will bring this across the center line here. He bounces forward for Guest. I've been to California. I guess that's my Florida. Love California. Absolutely gorgeous. Borgard will stride in from the left. Now gives back for Knight. Knight into the high post. Collar looks for service. He's swatted down. The Cougars come up with a rock. Matos will bring it across. Lead is back to 6 here for the Cougars. A chance to add on to the cushion here, but they turn the ball over. It's Guest Jr., a one-man show across the center line, and he was far out of bounds. That's C.J. Borgard. He was about 2 steps behind the sideline when he caught that pass. So it'll be a Cougar inbound deep in their own territory. Sub will come in first for the Raiders. It's Jaravante Russell, a 6'3" sophomore from Broad Alban, New York. Graduate of Broad Alban, Perth, former Patriot. Rodriguez into the waiting arms of Davis. Davis rolls around the arc, hands off Matos, heat check from long range, that one rattled out. Collins Weeks, the offensive board, he puts it up. Excuse me, that was Rodriguez, and now it's Collins Weeks, who will muscle it in. Fulton Montgomery was looking for some sort of whistle there. Collar will dish it off for Guest, the 3, and he hits. Just what the doctor ordered for Fulton Montgomery. Timeout on the floor called by the Cougars. And now we'll have a technical warning given to the Fulton Montgomery coach. The officials have heard enough. It's been a constant pestering from the Fulton Montgomery sideline. And now a technical warning and a rather heated discussion in front of the Raiders bench here. So timeout was called by Clinton. It's a very brief pause initiated by Neil Epstein. Cougars the first to break the huddle. Fulton Montgomery has just now gotten into their discussion. First horn has sounded, now the second. Fulton Montgomery's got to be ready to go here. Sub getting ready to check in. It's Harvey Merrill III. Meanwhile, the 5 on the floor for the Cougars. Look to add on to what is right now a 5-point advantage. Tyrell Lino gives over from Matos, and a carry is called. There's a unique call you don't see every day, but the carrying is called. And Harvey Merrill III, the lone local product on the 2025-26 Clinton roster, will check in. Merrill, a graduate of Willsboro High School, probably about 25 minutes south of here, currently in the South Plattsburgh area. Finds an open shooter in Guess. Guess hoists a long ball and he hits. The lead is now only a bucket for the Cougars. Raiders have rallied back. They're yet to lead, however. Weeks, no-look dime is intercepted. Guess will charge the other way. Hands off Collar in stride. Right block over the top of Lino, and we're knotted up at 24. Lino is 6'1", first year from Augusta, Georgia, the shortest listed player on the Cougar roster, and a moving screen the other way. It's Calvin Rodriguez who will be called for the moving pick. And that will negate the scoring opportunity here for the Cougars as Brady Smith checks in, a former South Glens Falls Bulldog. And the Raiders will inbound from in front of their own bench here. Meanwhile, Turner, who was injured early in the game, is still receiving attention from the athletic trainer Mike Johnson on the far side. Raiders, open man, left side. It's lofted in by Jordan Knight. That was a patient possession for Fulton Montgomery. They let the play work and they found an open look down low. Cougars now in need of an answer. They trail for the first time all night. Harvey Merrill across the floor for Lino. It's a small lineup here for the Cougars. Pass comes over for Guest. Guest defended by Merrill, gets him off his feet. Smith, 3 from the corners off the far rim. They tie up on the rebound, and eventually it falls to Anthony Thomas Jr. Thomas slips, and that's a walk. Xavier Davis re-enters. He'll take off Tyrell Lino. Davis, the first year from Baltimore, Maryland, as we've mentioned earlier. Jacob, it's the Sunshine State. That just came to me. It's the Sunshine State from Florida. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm calling these games. James Collar, open look on the right side. Now dishes over near side, Javante Russell. Russell down low again. The open man is Knight. That time he can't get the chip shot to fall. Offensive rebound controlled by Smith. 3 from the corner, and it's cash for Craig Guest Jr. He drew some contact as he released the ball. And he sends it through the bottom of the hoop. Largest lead of the game. The Raiders up by a handful. Conrad looking for an answer front side. Airmails it over for Davis. Now into the high post, Thomas Jr. Dishes off again, Collins Weeks. He works down lane. Off the window, gets his own miss again. And the third time's a charm for Jeffrey Collins Weeks. Cougars leading scorer as we reach the halfway point of this first half. 29-26 now. Fulton Montgomery in the driver's seat. James Collar here will slow the proceedings for Fulton Montgomery. Ball comes in to Knight. Knight tripped up by Merrill, and the whistle called. Fulton Montgomery will inbound here underneath their opponent's basket. Ball comes in to Brady Smith, and he will lay it in. Back to a 5-point edge. Near side Merrill, back up top, big man 3. Collins Weeks, not true that time. It rattles out, rebound taken by Guest. Guest will bring it forward. Raider takes a dive in the front end, and we'll have a foul to break up what was a messy sequence here. It's been a bit of a physical ball game at times. Some bodies on the hardwood at different points in the affair. And that will be team foul number 6 against the Cougars. 2 fouls on Fulton Montgomery in the half. The Raiders will throw it in front of their opponent's bench. Guess will find Collar. Collar, the true one of this Raiders squad, at least in the 5 on the floor that we've seen so far. Collar, near side, Guess for 3. Craig Guess Jr. with a flex after that trade. He's on fire from beyond the arc thus far. 8-point lead now. It's Thomas, he'll work in. Dishes off Merrill. Merrill passes up the shot, now works in. Conrad again along the perimeter. Dishes to Davis in the corner, who sinks the long ball. 29-34, lead is back to 5. Collar, long shot, Guess rattles out. Ball's batted in the air, picked up by Smith. Smith is fouled on the floor by Xavier Davis. Seven-team foul against the Cougars, and we've now entered 1-and-1 terrain. It's Brady Smith, the 6'3" first year from South Glens Falls, who will make his way to the stripe. And he won't convert on the front end. Conrad will gobble up the rebound. He takes it across the center line himself, now dishes off for Matos. Matos works downhill, and he'll lay it in, counted in the foul. A chance for 3 the old-fashioned way for the Providence, Rhode Island first-year Jaden Matos. And the Cougars can drop back within a bucket here with a converted free throw. Rhode Island's the Ocean State, Jacob. I've got that one down, no questions about it. We're going to play U.S. Geography Trivia. Free throw rattles out for Matos, and the Raiders control the bounce. 34-31, Collar takes it across the center line, dishes back to Russell. Now in the near corner, Jackson parallels baseline and acrobatically will lay it in, and a foul called. That is a late whistle. That is a very late whistle. And they're going to say it was in the act of shooting. So a hoop and the harm here for Andre Jackson, a 5'11" first year from Schenectady. And that's one of the latest foul calls after a made basket I think I've ever seen. The foul was called against Anthony Thomas. His second personal, 8th-team foul against the Cougars. And a chance for 3. The old-fashioned way, Conrad commits a lane violation, but the free throw is good anyhow, 37-31. Matos now will slow the tempo. Matos now strides in from the right block, and a foul called as he passed the ball over to Harvey Merrill. This whistle will go against Craig Guest Jr., that lethal three-point shooter from New Haven, Connecticut. Sub comes in. It's Jerome White who will re-enter for the Cougars. He relieves Jamison Conrad. First personal foul against Craig Guest Jr. Merrill gives it near side to Smith. Smith over for Collins Weeks. Batted off the sideline and last touch by Collins Weeks. Blue ball. 6-point edge here for the Raiders and a chance to add to it. Tight defense from Xavier Davis, but the inbound pass is secured by James Collar. He gives back to the inbounder in Jackson, who will act as a point guard. Takes it across the timeline with 3 to spare. Pass down low. Russell batted around by Collins Weeks, and the foul called. And Jaravante Russell will make his way to the stripe. Ninth-team foul against the Cougars. The next foul will place them in the double bonus. This is a shooting foul anyhow as Jaravante Russell steps in. First one is off the backboard and through. 38-31. Sub comes in now for Fulton Montgomery. No, he won't. The ball was already in the hands of the free throw shooter, so a bit of miscommunication between the stripes there. Russell's shot is off the target. Rebound taken in by Collins Weeks, and again the Cougars trying to slow the tempo here. I think that's to their benefit. Inside 7 minutes to go now in the half. Weeks stops, pops, and it's off the front rim. Long shot makes a long rebound. Harvey Merrill is there to pick it up. He works down the lane, and nearly laid it in from the right side. His shot was just off. It rolled around the front rim where the Raiders were able to pick it up. 7-point lead here. And another foul against the Cougars. Foul is on the floor. But it is a double bonus situation, so Guest will shoot a pair. Sub comes in for Clinton Community. Meanwhile, Guest Jr. will prepare for a pair of free throws. First one falls through, 39-31. Guess second, true as well. Raiders up by 9. Jaden Matos inside to Collins Weeks III. Pass broken up but corralled by Merrill. Merrill parallels baseline, stripped away by Andre Jackson. Jackson now tripped up in the backcourt. And another turnover. Merrill wide open up front, and he's fouled on his way to the rim. It was 2-on-2 action. James Collar fouled Harvey Merrill III, and it's Merrill who will make his way to the line here for a pair of free throws and a chance to cut into this 9-point lead. That was the third or fourth time where both teams were down on the floor vying for possession of a loose ball. Usually, in this game thus far, it's resulted in a foul, and that's the case here. This time it's against Fulton Montgomery. The 15th foul against him in the period as Harvey Merrill will sink the first. It's hard to miss the loafers on a lot of these Clinton players. Harvey Merrill III with some bright pink shoes. I see 2 pairs of neon orange shoes, and Jeffrey Collins Weeks 1 green, 1 orange. Harvey Merrill 2 up, 2 down, 40-33. Collar hands off for Jackson. Inside 6 to play now. Knight over for Collar. Collar finds an open lane. Can't finesse it off the window. Batted off the backboard again. Conrad will play it forward for Weeks. Weeks puts it up from the right block, and it's in. Lead is back to a handful. It's Guest Jr. Dishes off for Smith. Hoists a 3. It's wide. Collins Weeks will take in the board. Merrill finds an open White. White will drive in for the easier shot, but he's fouled. That's another whistle after the shot attempt. But this one will award Jerome White a pair of free ones. White, a first year from Mandeville, Jamaica, graduate of Believe Prep. Foul was charged to James Collar, by the way, so that is a rather significant second personal against the Raiders point guard. White will sink the first, 40-36. Change down low for the Raiders. Matthew Carter, a 6'5" first year from Albany, will take off Brady Smith. Jerome White's second rattles out, but Jeffrey Collins Weeks will tip it back in. So Fulton Montgomery caught sleeping on the box out, and Jeffrey Collins Weeks makes them pay. 40-38, a lot of contact, and that's got to be a foul one way or the other. Did he call a double foul? No, okay. Boy, I thought he called a double foul. I didn't have that on my bingo card today. We've already seen some wacky calls, but that will just be a foul against Clinton's Jerome White, second personal against him, and the double bonus will award Fulton Montgomery with a pair of foul shots. Matthew Carter's first rattles off the glass. Oh for 2 at the line. White the rebound. Forward for Conrad. Inside 5 to play. Conrad over for Collins Weeks. Now in the arms of Matos. Matos tries to drive, dishes off Merrill, has to peer over a taller defender. Conrad thought about the three. Instead, he'll spin through traffic, and he can't get it to fall with the left. Gets his own miss, however. Now it's controlled by Guest Jr. Guest will traverse the center line. Guest puts it up off balance, looking for the foul, no whistle. Harvey Merrill, the mouse in the house, picks it up, and that's a hard foul along the center line. Merrill will go down. The foul is against Guest on the steal attempt. And it will be a 1-and-1 here for Harvey Merrill III, who's back up by Peedle. 17 foul against Fulton Montgomery. Clinton well into the double bonus. Subs coming in for Fulton Montgomery. As Harvey Merrill prepares for the 1-on-1. Sinks the first, awards himself a second. Timeout on the floor. Called by Fulton Montgomery. They'll try to ice Harvey Merrill's second free throw. The Cougars have inched back within a point. It's 40-39. 4 minutes, 31 seconds remain in this opening period. And it's been a back and forth game. Both sides have had fairly large leads in the game. Clinton began on a rather momentous run before Fulton Montgomery found its groove in the offensive side. Then it was Clinton who found itself on the wrong side of the scoring column, but they themselves have now rallied back to cut the deficit to a single point. Harvey Merrill, in fact, can tie it on the back end of this 1-on-1 opportunity. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, both teams 1 win, 1 loss. Clinton dropped an 80-48 decision to a 4-year institution, VTSU Randolph, to tip off the season. And then Calvin Rodriguez supplied them with a thrilling 85-83 win in their home opener, or actually their second home game. It was a home opener for me last Wednesday, 7 days ago. Fulton Montgomery, meanwhile, defeated Jefferson 84-67, and then they lost to Bunker Hill. Tied game. Raiders now will push the length of the floor. It's Jackson who will take it across. Cherry picks inside to Carter. Carter hands off for Knight. Knight can't float it in, but he uses the back glass. Second bounce is good, and the Raiders are back in front. 4 1/4 left to play in the first. Matos over for Merrill. Merrill works downhill, dishes off Collins Weeks. Now Hill, temp fade inside. Whistle, offensive foul. Jeffrey Collins Weeks called for the player control. It'll be number 3 against the Cougar starting center. And that will necessitate a change from Cougars skipper Neil Epstein. Four-point lead for the Raiders. Jackson sends it over for Russell. Now shot from the corner is well wide. Long rebound controlled by Rodriguez. Rodriguez forward, Conrad in transition, lays it off the top window. And we're all knotted up again at 42-all. 3:20 left to play in this first half. Jackson over for Russell. Inside, wide open Knight. He's enveloped, and the Cougar defense comes up with the steal. Conrad will bring it forward. Into the corner, but intercepted in transit again. Now lead pass forward. Corralled before it reaches the baseline. Into the hands of Russell. Russell dishes off. Knight in the corner. Shots off the near rim. White the rebound. Inside 3 to play. White to Conrad for 3. Off the near rim again. That time it's Javante Russell who will pick up the rebound. He'll lose possession near side, but it's corralled by Agresta. 2.5 left to play in the first. Russell from the parking lot, and he hits! Conrad into the waiting arms of Merrill. Fulton Montgomery's broken the stalemate. It's 45-42 with 2 1/4 left. Conrad sends it over, another long 3. Matos can't find the answer. Friendly fire on the rebound, eventually taken up by Agresta. Gresta will roll it over near side for Russell. 2 minutes left to play. Sends it over for Jackson. Jackson is pushed, no whistle. Given inside for Carter. Now it's Agresta. Step or two inside the arc. But a foul going the other way. It'll be a foul against the Cougars. No, against the... What did he call here? It's against the Cougars, so a double bonus. And the Raiders will have 2 free throws. And it's Jordan Knight, the 6'2" first year from Schenectady, graduate of Mahonison High School, will step in. First is true. Sub checks in. It's CJ Beauregard, a 6'3" first year from Tampa, Florida, which is the Sunshine State if you're just joining us on tonight's broadcast. By the end of the night, we'll go through all 50 states. Second one rattles in, 47-42, 107 seconds left in the first half. Jaden Matos through traffic, and he's fouled. No basket. He was fouled before the successful field goal attempt. I think Neil Epstein wants him to huddle. So stepping up to the stripe here is Jaden Matos. 98 seconds left in this opening frame. Matos, the 6'6" first year from Providence, Rhode Island. Chance to cut into this 5-point lead. The first is good. It bounces off the back iron and down the hoop. Another change here for the Raiders. Mackenzie Johnson will come in relief of Matthew Cutter, just picked up his second personal. Matos converts on the second. 3-point game. Jackson brings it up for Russell. Jackson over for Russell again. Now back up top. 14 to shoot, 1:20 left in the half. Smith calls for a screen. Surrenders near side, Bogard. Bogard back up, 5 to shoot. Long three is short. Cougars control the rebound. It's Matos. He sends it forward for Merrill in stride. Merrill is not fouled. Oh, they call the walk. Oh, dear. Oh, he missed one there. So it'll be a Raiders inbound near side. Jordan Knight tosses it in to Andre Jackson. Into the high post for Johnson. Down low, Knight contested at the rim. Knight, second chance, and it rattles through. 49-44, inside a minute to play. Matos sends it near side for Conrad. Conrad again over for White. White the three. Rattles out. Rebound taken in by Knight. There's about a 9-second differential between the shot and game clocks. Jaravante Russell near side for Jackson. Russell for three, and he hits! Another deep three for Jaravante Russell. And Fulton Montgomery has the swing of momentum on their side as we enter the halftime break. The Cougars will hold for one last shot here. 10 seconds left in the half. 52-44. It's Matos. He steps back, hoists the tray. It's off target. Rebound controlled by Knight. 2 seconds left. Knight one-handed, and it's well short of the rim. But the Raiders find a second wind. At the end of the first half, they take a 52-44 lead to the locker room. And the Cougars will have to search for answers just like they did in the opening game of this 2025-26 season. Calvin Rodriguez supplied the heroic buzzer beater in that one. The Cougars will need some magic down the stretch when play continues in 15 minutes.
We stream with Huddle at Flexford State. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was talking with Cahoon and wants to move over to Huddle. It's better all Struck is the name of the software we use.
Nice.
I don't know.
Stuff that used for hockey.
Yep, all of our sports.
Everything?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what the subscription that the college has to pay to use is. I don't know if it's exorbitant, but it's really good software. So, yeah.
Easy to use.
I mean, I can use it.
Oh.
So if I can use it, it's easy to use.
Nice.
Hey, Doc, how are you?
How's it going, Doc?
Good first half. Exciting. Back and forth. All right, I got to go down and say hi to Spruce.
The PA announcer isn't here?
No, he's in Las Vegas. He's on vacation.
Damn. Must be nice.
What's Las Vegas? Hold on, I gotta Google that.
Yeah.
The gambling state. No, I don't think that's it. Nevada. Boy, I've opened up a can of worms here. It's the Battleborn state.
Oh, great.
Oh, also the Silver State. Silver State is its official nickname. So there you have it.
Nice.
I'm gonna head down.
Awesome. What's that? Does it keep stats live?
No,
okay.
unfortunately. Well, I might be able to. What do you need?
I was just confirming what it's for. Like,
Computer.
yeah, okay.
Yep, you're all set. I don't know if that means they're not scheduled. I want to make sure it's on the website. No. What's up? What's up? Who? Currently, I got about 30 seconds, so I got to get back on the mic. So, I'm doing play-by-play for basketball. What? I literally call, so, like, call the shots, player movement, everything. So if you, come on, I'll text you the link so you can watch it and you'll find out what I do. Why? boy. Why is this mic not working? Oh my god, this is gonna crash out. Make me crash out. This is gonna make me crash out. Why is this not working?
Back streaming, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We have rectified those issues, hopefully. Working in now for Fulton Montgomery. It's James Collar now who will slow the tempo. 54-49 is your score, by the way. 16:20 left. Collar puts it up. He's fouled on his way to the rim. And he'll have a chance for 2 at the free throw stripe. Foul will go against Clinton's Jeffrey Collins Weeks III, and that's number 4. That's a big 4th personal foul against Collins Weeks. J-Mo Conrad ready to check in at the table. As James Collar is all nylon on the first try. Conrad comes in for Collins Weeks. Good. Very good. Collar second. He is good. Just like our streaming technology. 56-49. A 7-point edge here for Fulton Montgomery. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Jacob K., Dakota Brink, and Neil Epstein collaborated to save the day. Tyrell Lino hands off near side, J-Mo Conrad. Handoff, Lino picks up some contact, still possesses the ball. Now he'll work inside the perimeter. Dishes off Conrad, 7 on the timer. Hoists a long ball, it's off the near rim. They bat it around, it's nearly an own basket. Now it's controlled by Thomas Jr., who will float it in. 56-51, 15 3/4 minutes left in regulation. They push forward into the hands of Jackson. Jackson tries the runner, can't get it to fall. Lino, the mouse in the house, will gobble up the rebound. Bounce pass forward for Conrad, deflected off the sideline by the Raiders. Cougar basketball in front of their own bench as Brady Smith will check back into the game in relief of Matthew Carter. Lino sends it over for Matos. Matos will free himself, glances up the shot clock, sees he has ample time. Now he'll work into the lane. Ball's batted around in the mid-range. They dive for the loose ball on the floor. It's off the baseline. Referee never made a signal. It's going to stay here. No, it's not. It's Fulton Montgomery ball. No, it's Clinton ball. Tyrell Lino will inbound here. Some confusion. The referee never made a signal off the baseline out of bounds. Lino with 12 on the timer. Comes into Conrad, who can't corral the pass. It's turned over. Raider basketball. And a timeout on the floor called by Neil Epstein and company. Clinton will take a timeout. 15-19 left in this second quarter. 56-51, Fulton Montgomery leads. And it's been a fairly balanced scoring column for Fulton Montgomery. It's been the three-point prowess of Craig Guest Jr. that has spearheaded the efforts. And what is in line to be the winning cause. Lots of basketball left to play. And the Heart Attack Cougars, as head coach Neil Epstein has dubbed them. Yeah, we got it back up now. We had a little problem. We're good now, though. Thank you. Hey, at least we know we have one viewer, because somebody noticed that it wasn't on. One viewer other than my parents. So that's good. That's good news. Thank you to that young lady for seeing what the issue was. Again, we apologize for that technical disturbance. Sometimes computers have a mind of their own, and ours decided it wanted to nap at halftime and just shut down abruptly. Cougars the first to break the huddle. Maybe he got sick of us naming the nickname of every state. Nevada, by the way, is a silver state. We found that out at halftime. I'm Tyler Wood. Jacob K. is on the camera and working the magic on the technical end of things. Thank you for tuning in this evening, putting up with our antics, which I hope you find tangentially entertaining. And we have a great basketball game before us this evening as well. Jordan Knight into the arms of Collar. Collar works past a defender, caught in a Cougar sandwich, hoists a shot, and the rebound is controlled by Thomas. It's tied up back around the center line. Still they vie for possession. Picked up by the Raiders, now tied up, and it'll be a foul against Jaden Matos. No, it will not. It'll be a foul that goes against Jordan Knight. So second personal against Jordan Knight. First team foul against the Raiders in the period. Cougars have 3 team fouls in this second half thus far. Tyrell Lino brings it across the center line just inside 15 left. He hands off Matos. Matos drives downhill, dishes off Conrad. Bunny hop 3 off target. Rebound controlled by Jackson. Over for Collar, is content to slow the pace here. There's a 5-point edge here for the Raiders. Not quite good enough insurance policy for me to say the clock is their friend. Conrad comes up with the steal on the other side. Conrad in transition, tries to lay it in, he misses the bucket. Guest, back for Smith, full head of steam for the right block, and he's fouled. It'll go against Anthony Thomas Jr., who has a gripe with the official. It will be the second personal foul against Anthony Thomas Jr. And Brady Smith, a 6'3" first year from South Glens Falls, will make his way to the line. Remember, Jeffrey Collins Weeks III has 4 personal fouls. And he's going to check back in here. So the Cougars are going to go with a tall lineup. J-Mo Conrad has taken a seat on the Cougar Pine. Jeffrey Collins Weeks will have to play a rather conservative brand of basketball down the stretch here, as Smith converts from the line, 58-51. Matos takes it across. Matos inside. Thomas couldn't corral the pass. Scampers off the end line for a Fulton Montgomery inbound with 14 flat left. 7-point lead. Timeout, Fulton Montgomery. So FMCC will take a pause here to shuffle their cards as the Cougars look to rally back in their second consecutive game. Fulton Montgomery under the tutelage of Ed Collar, same last name as the point guard, James Collar. So Ed Collar is the returning head coach. He previously served as head coach for 12 years, beginning in the 2008-9 season. He then departed in 2020 to become the head coach at Gloversville High School, where he coached his son, James Collar. It all comes full circle. You see the discoveries we make? In his previous 12 seasons, Collar picked up 159 wins. He led the 2018-19 team to a 20-win campaign and a Final Four appearance. So certainly a valiant history in the coaching ranks for Ed Collar. And in fact, he just wrapped up a 35-year teaching career. He taught 6th grade social studies at Gloversville Middle School. He retired in June, so congratulations to him. It's always interesting to see a public school teacher coaching at the college level. You don't see that very often. Plays it near side, Brady Smith. Now in the hands of the coach's son, James Collar. Long ball from Knight, and he hits. The lead is 10 for Fulton Montgomery. Tyrell Lino will take it across the center line. Bounces into the arms of Matos. Matos parallels baseline. Runs into a stone wall in the form of Brady Smith. Somehow finds an outlet in White. White shot well short. They vie for possession. It's a blue ball. Fulton Montgomery will possess. Strong crowd on hand tonight inside the Foreign Center, particularly for a midweek affair. A lot of Clinton students here as always on the banks of Lake Champlain on the former academic campus of Clinton Community College. As we mentioned, the institution itself has relocated, but the athletic facilities remain here on the shores of the lake. Pass inside. It's Carter who will find some open space, but it's turned over into the arms of Collins Weeks. Weeks forward, Matos right-handed, and he floats it in. 61-53. Now it's Collar who will bring it across the center line. Speaking of high school basketball, we had some Section 7 basketball coaches in the building. Larry Converse, the legendary head coach of Seton Catholic, north of 4 decades of coaching experience, was here earlier, somewhere around here. Pass comes in to James Collar. Collar will work through the paint, puts it up off balance, no whistle, and the rebound is controlled by the Cougs. Sent forward for Matos. Back for Weeks, playing with 4 personals. Drives down the lane, dishes off White. White tries a floater. Offensive putback is true for Anthony Thomas. Timeout on the floor called by Clinton. 12 minutes, 4 seconds left in regulation time. It's a 61-55 game. It'll be a 30-second timeout on the floor initiated by the Cougars. They trail by 6, approaching the midway point of this second frame. First buzzer sounds. Nice to see some local sports media here in attendance tonight. We see Kyle Corrier walk across the front section here. It's around a dormant time right now in local high school sports. Winter sport practices begin on Monday. Of course, their fall sport playoffs are still in effect. In fact, tonight there are 2 regional semifinal volleyball matches at Beekmantown High School. Beekmantown is taking on a Section 3 opponent. And the other team participating is Saranac Lake, off the top of my head, I believe. I was offered to call those games, but I'm wrapped up here tonight inside the Foreign Center. Andre Jackson brings it front side for Fulton Montgomery. Bounces over for Craig Guest. Guest into the high post. Tries to pass out to the wing. He's able to jump, and he's fouled. Tyrell Lino doesn't like the call, but it will be team foul number 5 against the Cougars. We're still 104 seconds away from the midway point of this second half. Fouls have been a common theme in this game. It's been a tightly called contest. Collar now will toss it in along the baseline. Collar peers over a tall defender in white. Smith puts it up, and he's fouled. The trailing official called a foul down low. And I think it's going to be against Anthony Thomas. That would be number 4. It is. 4th personal against Anthony Thomas. So the Cougars have 2 posts on the floor with 4 personals. Jeffrey Collins Weeks and Anthony Thomas Jr. And it's a chance for 2 at the line for Brady Smith. 6 fouls against the Cougars, 1 foul against Fulton Montgomery this far in the second, as Smith will make the first. Extends the lead to 7, 62-55. Second rattles out. Collins Weeks the uncontested rebound, and he'll act as the point guard, bringing it across the center line. He dances inside, tries to find Thomas, and there's a foul against Fulton Montgomery away from the play. Second team foul in the second half. 3rd personal now against Jordan Knight. He's been a key contributor as well for the team in blue. Ball comes near side for White. Lino in the corner. He'll now work around the perimeter before surrendering back up top to Collins Weeks. Weeks calls for a screen. Now pops inside the 3-point line. Can't traject it in. But the offensive putback falls for Calvin Rodriguez. Calvin Rodriguez was the hero 7 days ago when the Cougars triumphed on a buzzer beater as time expired over SUNY Adirondack. He puts the Cougars within 5 here. Jordan Knight over for Jackson. Jackson back up top for Brady Smith. Smith now inside Guest Jr. 7 seconds to go. He puts it up, can't get it to fall. Long rebound is eventually picked up by White. White goes through the spin cycle. Rodriguez in transition to Thomas, and he's fouled. So a trip to the line for Anthony Thomas Jr. The Cougars trail 62-57. 10:44 now left in this second half. First shot from Thomas is errant. Cougars make a change on the wing. Harvey Merrill will come in for Tyrell Lino. Thomas makes the second. Pass into James Collar. He'll bring it across. Collar hands off for Guest. Sends it over for Jackson. Jackson back out for Jordan Knight. Knight to the corner. Jackson again. 8 seconds on the timer. James Collar surveys his options. 4 to shoot. He'll work in the lane. Frees himself. Ball goes up. It's off the rim. It should have been a reset. It's off the baseline. What's the call here? Blue basketball. Blue basketball. The shot clock will be reset to 20 seconds. I think they missed a reset there anyway. I'm pretty sure the ball hit the bottom of the rim. I've been wrong several times before, but in my mental replay, the ball hit the bottom of the rim. But it will be a partial reset anyway as the ball was batted out by a Cougar, so Fulton Montgomery will have 20 seconds here to work with. And a 5-second call on the inbound. A 5-second call on the inbound. The Cougars get it right back. That was a quick 5 seconds. Harvey Merrill will take it across the center line. He dishes over for Jerome White. White down the lane, catches a body, and there's a foul. It was Anthony Thomas Jr. who moved in for the right flank and tried to put it up. He was fouled in the process of shooting, and he will make his way to the line with a chance to make this a 2-point game. That's the 4th team foul against FMCC. Sub checks in. Jaden Matos will relieve Jerome White. Seconds off the back iron. Weeks a putback. Wedge. Still they fight for it. Weeks again. Will put it in off the top corner. And a turnover. Fulton Montgomery with it. Oh, that's a terrible mistake. That's a terrible mistake. Timeout, Fulton Montgomery, understandably so. The Cougars draw within a bucket, and they'll have the basketball right back underneath their opponent's basket. What happened was the player was out of bounds. Fulton Montgomery had a change of heart over who should take the inbound pass. The original inbounder gave it to a Raider who then stepped out of bounds. Oh my goodness, that's a big-time mental mistake for Fulton Montgomery. And it's going to give the Cougars a chance to tie the game or take the lead here. 3 seconds removed from the midway point. Coach Collar takes a timeout. 10:03 left in regulation time. 62-60. His Raiders lead, but their advantage is dwindling. It's been a big week of basketball in the North Country. Plattsburgh State men were in action last night. They picked up a 67-60 win over Norwich. So on the call for that one this weekend, the Plattsburgh State women's team will host its annual Cardinal Classic. Plattsburgh State, Potsdam, Mount Holyoke, and Utica will be participating. I'll be calling hockey this weekend. Plattsburgh State women against William Smith and then Buffalo State. Here at the Foreign Center, we're ready to resume play. Harvey Merrill will inbound. The Cougars have 20 seconds to work with. Merrill goes long into the arms of Rodriguez. Rodriguez over for Matos. No need to rush here. Matos will hop, skip, and jump inside, and he took an extra step. Travel called. Caller will take it across the center line. A defense chant breaks out here inside the Foreign Center. Crowd beginning to feel the urgency of this game. Reverse layup and a beautiful one falls for Jordan Knight. 64-60 now. Collins Weeks into the front court. Rodriguez for three, and he hits! Calvin Rodriguez picks up right where he left off last Wednesday. The Cougars draw within one. And a foul called, and that will be against Rodriguez. First personal, 17 foul into a 1-and-1. James Caller's first. Lane violation, we're headed the other way. Shot was no good anyway. And there's an infraction before the shot even reached the rim. Pass comes into Harvey Merrill. Merrill over for Matos. Heat check. Rattles out. Ball's batted in the air and eventually gobbled up by Jaravante Russell. In transition now. Guest looking to strike. One-handed floater. It's an easy bucket. 66-63. Now Merrill. Over for Collins Weeks the third. Back up top for Jaden Matos. Collins Weeks hoists the tray. Rattles out. Tipped up. Ball somehow stays in bounds, and now it's off the sideline. And it will be Fulton Montgomery ball. Craig Guest Jr. will inbound. There's a plethora of first years on this Fulton Montgomery roster. They have just 5. Check that, 6 sophomores. Of course, Clinton only has 3 sophomores, so a youthful look for both sides. Here's Collar. Works downhill. Right-handed, lays it in. Now Merrill, over to Weeks. Weeks creates space, steps back, and rattles it in. Boy, the rim is a friend of both teams today. We got a technical foul. Technical foul against the Cougars bench. Technical foul against the Cougars bench here. That just doesn't need to happen. You know what I mean? It just doesn't need to happen. And now a player's just been removed from the Cougars bench. It'll be 2 technical free throws here for Craig Guest Jr. So long stoppage here while the officials discuss something with the bookkeeper at the table. And now the technical free throws will be on the way for Craig Guest Jr. Sinks the first. (69-65) now. Second tee on the way. Converts. Technical foul allows you to choose your free throw shooter, and Coach Collar certainly chose right there. Nothing but the bottom of the net on both ends for Craig Guest Jr. 5-point lead now for the Raiders. 8:15 left to play in the second half. James Collar brings it across. I feel like Collar's played every minute in this game. He's certainly been an impactful player as the lead ball handler for this FMCC squad. Ball's just back up top for Knight. Knight strides in. Can't get a shot to fall. It's tipped up. Collins Weeks the rebound. Somehow he works through the defense. And now it's Matos who will drill his way into the lane. Thomas puts it up and in. 70 to 67. Seven and a half left to play. Here's Collar. Collar dishes back Russell for three. No good. Weeks the rebound. Remember, Weeks is playing with 4 personals. Gives off Matos from long range, and he connects. Timeout Cougars. We're all knotted up at 70. 7:12 left to play. Full timeout on the floor. So Clinton with some more late game heroics. And they have tied this affair at 70 all with 7 minutes, 12 seconds left to play in regulation. Clinton, remember, is in the 1-1 situation. Only 14 fouls against Fulton Montgomery thus far. Jeffrey Collins Weeks is playing with 4 personal fouls, as is Anthony Thomas Jr. Foul trouble is very real for Clinton. Fulton Montgomery also a number of whistles this evening, but no key players yet to reach that 4 foul mark. Cougars are the first to break the huddle. They do so with a chant of right now. That's when the Cougars intend to flip the tables on this game. Collins Weeks appeared a bit hobbled coming out. I don't know if he had a cramp in the midst of that timeout. He seems okay now. Collins Weeks has led the way for Clinton Community tonight. Andre Jackson will bring it across. He has Harvey Merrill and Stowe. Russell turns it over. It's Rodriguez to steal. The other way, puts it up, rattles out. Picked up by Weeks. He's fouled on the putback opportunity. Jeffrey Collins Weeks can give his squad the lead at the free throw line, just inside 7 minutes left. And that time the rim worked against him. The rim has been his friend all evening, not that time around on the front end of this opportunity. Converts on the back end, and the Cougars have retaken the lead. It's been a valiant comeback, and it's now 71 to 70. Andre Jackson plays it back for Knight. Knight now over to Russell in the corner. Here's a look for three. No good. And a foul. I heard the contact. You could hear the slap. And there will be a foul called against the Raiders. Coach Collar says you got to get back on D. And instead it'll be a foul picked up in the backcourt by Brady Smith, his second personal. 16 fouls. That was the last foul to give before the Raiders enter 1-1. Merrill plays it near side Matos. Matos works through contact. Far too much mustard on the shot. The Cougars looking for the foul. It doesn't come. Now the Raiders charge the other way. Here's Jackson. Dishes off in the corner for Russell. Russell, reverse layup, and he connects. The Raiders pull back in front by 1, 72 to 71. Merrill over the top for Rodriguez. Rodriguez inside Thomas is collapsed upon, and he took a shot to the face, which will draw a foul. He's back up on his feet, still holding that face area. Now he'll take a moment to collect himself here before he attempts the 1-and-1. Was a foul on the floor, but it's a 17th foul against Fulton Montgomery in the period. Knight's first is good. Six minutes, 1 second left at the time of Anthony Thomas Jr.'s second free throw attempt. Sub waiting to check in for Clinton. They'll get him in before the second free throw. It's Jerome White who will take off Harvey Merrill. Second one is off. Long rebound picked up by Smith. Smith traverses the court, eventually corralled by Jackson. Jackson will bring it forward. Back for Smith. Long three. Rattles out. Long board. Collins Weeks bats it into the arms of Russell. Russell now finds Jackson on the wing. And the Raiders will reset. Ball comes near side for Craig Guest. 72 all, 5.5 left. 5 seconds to shoot now. 4, 3, shot goes up. Guest can't connect. It doesn't hit the rim apparently, or no it did. It just didn't reset the shot clock. It's an air ball here, and now it'll be Cougar basketball. (72-72). Matos across the center line. Plays it near side, Collins Weeks. He'll drive into the paint. Dishes it for Thomas, and he'll float it in. Cougars pulled back in front by a bucket. 5 minutes left. And a double dribble. Double dribble, Cougar basketball. Fresh face on the hardwood for Fulton Montgomery. The Cougars will inbound in front of the FMCC bench. 4:50 left to play. Rodriguez over for Matos. Back up top, Collins Weeks the third. High steps inside, dishes off Matos. Can't corral it, but Collins Weeks will tip it back in. Collar across the timeline. The Cougars up by 4, their largest lead of the second half. Collar drives down the lane. He's fouled on his way to the rim. It's a tough collision. And Collar comes down holding his wrist. He remains down in a heap on the hardwood. The official is in conversation with Collar as his father watches on from the bench. And now the Cougars athletic trainer, Mike Johnson, will make his way onto the court. And Collar is going to remain in the game. Two free throws on the way for Collar, and he earned this last foul. Puts it up, no good. It's a double bonus. It's a shooting foul, I should say, not a 1-and-1. That was the last foul before the Cougars are in double bonus territory, however. Collar makes his second. Back to a one-possession game, 76-73. The Cougars a chance to add some insurance here. Matos works in, picks up his dribble, but finds White along the wing. White bats it up in the air. Plays it near side. Step back just inside the arc is errant. A tie-up for the ball, and the trailing official has a foul against Fulton Montgomery. That'll be a 1-and-1 for the Cougars. And it's Anthony Thomas Jr. who will step up to the stripe. Thomas sinks the first. He'll have a second try. Back to a 4-point game with 4:01 left. Two for two at the line. 5-point lead for the Cougars. This time Guest will act as the point guard across the timeline for the Raiders. Inside 4 minutes to go. Stops, pops, air ball, and it's eventually controlled on the floor by Collins Weeks. A Raider comes flying in to tie it up. It will be a jump ball and the arrow stays here. Timeout, Fulton Montgomery. It will be Raider basketball underneath its attacking basket. But the Cougars have officially turned the tide on the game. 78-73, 5-point lead for the hosts with 3:43 left to play in this second half. And we are back here inside the Foreign Center. 78-73 lead for Clinton Community. And I'm not sure what's happening here. Jacob, did you catch what the stoppage is here? Oh, it looks like a couple of Cougars may have some blood on their jerseys. In fact, now most of the Cougars team is huddled over there. Mike Johnson's going to go to work getting the blood off of some of these Cougar uniforms, which is the reason for the stoppage, but this isn't an infinite amount of time that Clinton has here. There is a time limit for this stoppage. Mike Johnson's going to go to work getting out the OxyClean and whatever other ingredients he needs to rid those uniforms of the biohazards. One of the players is Calvin Rodriguez, and the other is Jaden Matos. I'm not sure if they found the source of the blood or not. That would be priority number one, in my opinion. And the official says that's not good enough. Matos is going to have to step off here. He's going to need another jersey. Dakota Brink, the manager, takes off. Players now taking their jerseys off. Jamison Conrad and Harvey Merrill III will re-enter, and now sprinting back to the locker room are the two contaminated players. So this adds an extra factor into the final 3 minutes and 43 seconds. As Jaden Matos and Calvin Rodriguez may break the Olympic record for 200-meter sprint back to the Cougar locker room to find a new uniform. Here's Collar. He goes long in the inbound to Jaravante Russell. 10 seconds on the shot clock. It was not a reset. Russell bounces back for Craig Guest. Guest just headbutted Jamison Conrad to create space. 3 seconds left to shoot. Guest fades away from 3. Goes down as he shoots. No foul. But the Raiders control the bounce. Now Conrad forward for Thomas. Thomas will lay it in. 80-73. One player is back in the game. I don't know who that is, though. I think that's Matos wearing number 5. Collar will put it up, and he sinks it on the other end. Back to a 5-point game. 3 minutes and change left. Conrad back up top. Now he finds Collins Weeks. Weeks will take off, finds Thomas. And an offensive foul, and this is monumental. That's number 5 against Collins Weeks if it's him who was whistled. It is. Jeffrey Collins Weeks is done with 2:52 left, and the Cougars have lost their leading scorer. Jaden Matos is ready to re-enter wearing number 5, which is Jeffrey Collins Weeks' former number last year. So that is Matos. The other player involved was Calvin Rodriguez, who had to find a new outfit in the closet. He is wearing number 0. Is that correct, Jacob? Is that Mr. Rodriguez who's wearing 0 now? Okay. So both players have returned with new uniforms. So that's Calvin Rodriguez wearing 0. Jaden Matos is wearing number 5. 2:52 left to play in this second half. Five-point game. Charge the other way. Rodriguez sold the call, and Collar's called for the player control foul. Cougar basketball right in front of the FMCC bench. 5-point game here. The Cougars with a chance to tack on back-to-back player control fouls in subsequent or in consecutive possessions, I should say. Here's Marcus Stepney for Clinton. Stepney loses his dribble. Excuse me, that's not Stepney. That's the other player. And Rodriguez will lay it in. That's Matos wearing number 5. Rodriguez wearing 0. And it's Rodriguez who's able to muscle it in. 82-75, the Cougars with a 7-point lead. Collar loses his dribble. He needs a timeout, but there's a foul called. And the Cougars bench explodes. Remember, we've already seen one technical tonight against the Cougars bench. And now Mr. Stahl, one of the officials, is going to communicate something to Fulton Montgomery. Both teams now in the double bonus. James Collar will step up to the charity stripe. And what a final, or what a past minute of gameplay we've had. And now we have another stoppage. And I assume that this is something to do with the jersey change. Harvey Merrill is going to come back in. Now, if you report that jersey change to the table, there's nothing more you need to know. There's nothing more you need to do. As long as you report that jersey change. Oh, that's the 5th personal foul against Rodriguez. There we go. So there's a little confusion because he changed numbers with the scoreboard. That led to some confusion. So Rodriguez is fouled out of the game. I apologize if I added to your confusion at home. Collar will use the back glass to send the first through, 82-76. Collar's second. Rattles out. Rebound taken by Thomas, rather. And now in the arms of Matos, who's wearing number 5. Matos creates some space past his defender. 2 minutes left to play. Merrill glances up the clock, gives back to Matos again. 14 seconds on the timer. Inside 2 to play. Here's Matos. Feeds it off to the corner. Open look White. Puts it up well short. Put back, Thomas can't get it. Third time is the charm. 102 seconds left, an 8-point lead for the Cougs. Trying to sell a call front side, doesn't work out. Here's Matos, and he'll lay it in. And the Cougars can smell it from here, and the Raiders did it again. The massive mental mistake again. 2 times in one game. Harvey Merrill will inbound, and the Cougars can smell it. They lead by 10 with 1:28 left to play. Merrill over the top to Conrad. The Cougars will run down the shot clock. Jaden Matos works off defensive pressure from Guest. Matos over the top. Finds White in the corner. 8 seconds on the shot clock. White will dribble between his legs, and there's a foul against Fulton Montgomery. That will send Jerome White to the line for 2. 73 seconds left in this game, and that will be the 5th personal foul against James Collar. So Collar's evening is finished with 73 seconds left. He'll head back to the bench. Cougars up by double digits with 1:13 left to play. I'm not sure exactly what the delay is here. Okay, now we're going to let a sub in the game. Brady Smith will check in. We're back to 5-on-5 here. That was almost a power play for Clinton. They almost went 5-on-4 there. White's first is good. So Fulton Montgomery on the penalty kill. We're back to even strength on the floor. 1:13 seconds left. Cougars up by 11. White can make it a dozen. And he does. Timeout, Fulton Montgomery. There's no option to advance the ball in men's basketball. It'll be a 30-second pause. And the Cougars have all but secured a second win in the 2025-26 season. They lead by 12. 1:13 seconds left. And the fans begin to head for the exits here inside the Foreign Center. First buzzer sounds on this Fulton Montgomery timeout. This gymnasium, no stranger to heroics this season. However, they've tended to fall in the hands of the host team. Fulton Montgomery will be needed some magic here. The Raiders in time conservation mode. Now the clock will run as Jackson brings it across. Jackson finds Knight on the wing. Long ball. No good. Thomas the rebound. Gives it forward for Merrill. Merrill collects it. White, a dagger. Blocked at the rim. Thomas the putback. 90-76 inside a minute to go. Fulton Montgomery not quite calling off the Dogs yet. Long three, another air ball. Thomas tracks the pop fly. He quarterbacks it down court for Conrad. Conrad over for White, who'll wisely pass up the shot. White now will dribble back toward the center line. It falls in the hands of Jaden Matos, wearing a different jersey after the blood situation. It comes into Thomas. Thomas to Conrad in the corner. The Cougars will run down the shot clock. There's a 20-second differential. Harvey Merrill saves the over and back. Jerome White now has it in the corner. He hoists a three. Rattles out. Smith the rebound. And the Jets are on now for Fulton Montgomery, but it's all for naught. Three ball hoisted by Jackson. He can't hit. It's off the end line, and the Cougars can dribble it out from here. And Neil Epstein's going to take a timeout. And he's going to explain to Coach Collar why he's taking the timeout. And I am not sure why Coach Epstein would take a timeout here. Coach Collar certainly doesn't like it. Neil Epstein immediately ran right over to caller to give him an explanation for the timeout. There were no subs at the table to get in the game. So we will see here. .9 seconds left. Fulton Montgomery will apply some pressure the length of the floor. The Cougars can dribble it out. If I'm Fulton Montgomery, I'm not going to play defense here. Down by 14, and they'll follow my command. So it's Jaden Matos who will let time expire on the near side. And the Clinton Cougars begin the 2025-26 season at 2-1. That's an unnecessary dunk. And he makes it. Or rather, he misses it, which is deserved in that situation. He deserved to miss that. That was unnecessary. 90-76, your final score. The Cougars start 2-1. And it's another Herculean comeback. And this squad is feeling the vibes. The young men can feel it. They're 2-1. He separated. But that's how this game will end. Your final score, Clinton